Right. As always, my best Mr. Beast impression. Hello guys, welcome to another Strong Pill video. Today we got Maniac here and yeah, we're gonna interview him.
Hello.
So Maniac, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Maniac. I've been making music for 5 or 6 years at this point. I guess 6 because the first one came out in November 2020. I make shitty internet rock music, and I try my best to make the best thing I can. And I don't know. It's just fun. I like doing it. I like expressing myself through it.
Alright. So who is your inspiration? Like who was your inspiration to start making music?
Oh, probably in terms of this particular stuff, Negative XP is because he was kind of the first thing I heard, and just the idea of doing everything by yourself. But more generally, I listened to a ton of Green Day and Nirvana. Whenever I was first getting into making music, I wanted to get a band together, and I wanted to be Billy Joe Armstrong or Kurt Cobain. Getting a band together proved to be a pain in the ass, and so the Negative XP thing kind of worked out. Being able to do stuff by myself, it's also just nice to have that sort of creative control. You don't even I couldn't really find people to begin with, so that's kind of a first problem. But also, when you do find people, you kind of have to make sure they're aligned with the vision, I suppose. Which is definitely really difficult versus doing it by yourself. You don't have to worry about working around other people.
So if Negative XP is your inspiration, but I've heard some stuff, Maniac, I don't know if this is true, but you from what I have heard, you're unlike him, you're left leaning, right? You politically.
Yeah, that'd be correct. I consider myself like a social democrat, I suppose.
A social democrat.
I don't really like labels because I think that they're cringe, and they 90% of the time I feel like that no matter what label I choose, it causes people to assume things about me that I don't believe or that aren't true. I value individual liberty a lot, and I also think that government ought to be doing more for its people, and that people should have more autonomy and control over their lives. So if that kind of gives you an idea of and I also believe in equal rights for all, but I feel like that's kind of a given.
Right. So I've heard you have beef with some people around the scene, right?
Well, I wouldn't really call it beef. Beef implies I'm in a back and forth with a bunch of people. Really, I mean, there's people I've distanced myself from or don't really want to work with or whatever, but I wouldn't call it beef because it's I don't like arguing pointlessly on the internet. I just feel like it's completely unproductive and it's just boring. And overall, I know a lot of the people that I have problems with aren't going to change because I'm going to argue with them on the internet. So it's I've tried to kind of keep to me in mind. I've tried to kind of express myself and then let people do what they will with that. If they don't like me because of what I have to say or what I believe, then that's a them problem, not a me problem.
So yeah, honestly, I just had an interview. You know, Reba sucks.
Oh yeah, he was being really cringe. I wouldn't really say I have beef with him. He's just kind of a random guy in the scene. I don't know. Especially I don't waste time arguing with artists. Much less do I want to waste time arguing with random people saying cringe and vile shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, cause he accused you of some very very bad stuff. Honestly, and I was I don't think Maniac will do this because you seem like a nice person, and he accused you of grooming someone. I was I don't know, man.
Yeah, I hate. Again, I feel like even acknowledging this kind of lends credibility to him. He's just a random troll, really. He's mad that I banned him from my server for posting a bunch of racist bullshit. and has tried to make up a bunch of shit out of whole cloth about me because he's mad about that. I blocked him on Twitter and on other social media a long time ago. I don't want anything to do with him, and honestly, like, it's just not worth my time to address him or deal with him. Like, it's so obviously not true that I feel like even this like is more addressing than I really want to do of him. But like, I actually don't want to like address it. Like, it's one of those things of like, sorry, I'm looking for the right word. I guess what I was saying before, like acknowledging something like that that's so obviously false almost like lends credibility to it, because like he's just some random motherfucking guy. If I'm going to take the time out of my day to respond to some random fucking guy saying some obviously made up bullshit on Twitter, I feel like that implies that there's something behind that I feel, you know, a need to address, which I don't. Like I said, he's just a salty, probably teenager, if I had to guess.
So, a little bit of like a rapid fire questions. Are you Christian? Do you follow any religion? Maybe Muslim? I don't know. You religious at all?
No, I'm agnostic. I don't think it's possible to prove whether anything supernatural exists, because to prove something, sorry, I had to clear my throat. To prove something requires evidence, and all the methods we have to collect evidence are empirical. You can't measure the supernatural by empirical means. So, like, I don't get me wrong. That doesn't make me a fencer on the Christian God. For me, the big thing is just the problem of evil. I just don't think a all good, all knowing, and all powerful God could allow the existence of like evil or suffering, because like you can make the argument it's because of free will, but like an all powerful, all loving, all knowing God could easily create a world where free will exists and that no one wishes suffering upon anybody else. Like if those three things are true, as the Bible says they are, like how does that logically follow? That's really the main like philosophical argument for it. But like I said, I don't really try to demean anybody for being super religious. I don't think it's inherently smarter or dumber to believe in the existence of a God, because like I said, it's a matter of faith. It's not a matter of evidence.
So,
I don't personally believe it, but like I can't prove that a God does not exist. And so I think demeaning people for believing in a God is kind of cringe.
yeah, I get it. So, I had this question on mind lately. Would you describe your sound, like yourself, as incelcore?
I just don't really like that label anymore. I feel like it. I felt more aligned with it when I was younger, and also when I had more like friends who actively identified with it. But like the older I grow, like I've realized so many people who think they're the arbiters of that scene don't want me there, and it's like, if you don't want me there, you don't like me, and you guys don't represent or align with anything I believe, and I feel like I have to work around you to say what I want to say, then I don't want to deal with you, you know? So it's like, I don't really care that much about labels. If someone calls me that, I'm not going to like crash out over it. But like, I personally, that's not what I call myself anymore.
So I kind of feel like you compare to, Sarbamba.
Yes, I know Zarbamba.
I think you're like similar to Sarbamba, because he also said how he didn't really like the incelcore label, and he preferred the punk label. Do you agree with this?
I think for him it's sort of for different reasons, but I mean, similarly, yeah. I would say I identify more with like punk or alternative rock than I do with like incelcore, because I feel like saying I'm incelcore implies that my music is for incels, or that I myself like politically identify as an incel. and neither of those things are true. And so, like I said, I just don't like that term.
Yeah, right, right.
I just feel like it hurts more than it helps, and also just that it's not a good label to put on the kind of music I make.
Yeah, I guess like lately the last interview I had was with Bracy Boy Day, and he told me something very similar, that he didn't really agree with the incel ideology, and he also wanted to work around it. So I kind of understand where you're coming from.
I'm surprised he's like still around or does that much. I remember like him dealing with servers. I'm not his biggest fan, but like I said, it's in the past. I don't really like beef. I really the only thing with him I find cringe is just the the stealing instrumentals thing. I think is kind of cringe. It's just kind of this is already sort of a DIY low effort music genre. It really is not that hard to learn a few chords on guitar and to make your own instrumental. And so like I don't even know if he still does that anymore. I'm not trying to come after him for no reason. If he doesn't do that anymore, good for him. I don't really care. But yeah, that was really the only problem I had with him was I thought the stealing. I guess it's more common in hip hop to take beats from other people, but like, and he's like more hip hop leaning. But like in punk music and like this kind of flavor of music, it's very kind of considered very lazy and disrespectful, and I find myself agreeing with that category. And so, like I said, I'm not his biggest fan, but like I said, I don't like pointless internet beef. I'm not here to come after him.
Get that. So, do you have any hot takes on the community, maybe on the punk scene as a whole, on the incelcore scene? You got any hot takes?
I think the big one is just that, like, I think it's gotten a lot worse in the last few years. I think there used to be a lot more of a, like, actual community that cared about each other. And I think that's still true of the live scene. I think a lot of the live scene guys still, like, care about one another and are, like, an actual community. But so many of the, like, fan servers and discords that I've learned about and all that stuff, they've leaned so far into like it's either they're people who just know Fried from TikTok and don't care about any of the scene or community, or it's like full on like extremists who are bordering on O9A and like poll posting all the time. And I, like I said, it's one of those things of I don't want to associate with those people. Those people are just like awful. And several of those people, like this happened a while back, but like several of those people like will actively try and smear you to people outside the scene. That happened to me recently with somebody told somebody else who then made a Reddit post that was alleging like I was the head of some crazy far right segment of the incelcore scene, that I had kind of picked up the torch after Negative XP had left the scene. And it's like, if you know me, you know that isn't remotely true, but like because that person was outside the scene, they didn't believe it. They bought it. They did believe it. I said the wrong thing. And thankfully that person was very reasonable. I reached out to them and I was like, hey, this isn't true. I know some of these people that are telling these things to you. And I know and I want to, and so I was able to provide them some evidence, and overall it got handled. I'm not that bent out of shape about it, but that's just, to me, that's just so, like, how do you expect to, do you want this scene or this community to be a community and to grow and to be successful? Because if you truly do, then I don't understand why you would be that way, why you would be that like just unprovokedly awful to other people who don't have any ill wish upon you, other than that they wish, in my case, I wish that a lot of these people would find something better to do with their lives than waste them on pointless hatred that they've been directed towards by people with malicious intentions.
Now that you mention 09A, it is a funny story. I beat up an 09A kid once. It was pretty funny.
Oh man, yeah, that whole thing genuinely disturbs me. I feel like under any competent Justice Department or administration, that would have been broken up a long time ago. The amount of like I think TCC is like a bigger community, so I don't want to go ahead and say TCC is completely like busted up, but like the whole like that's genuinely there's genuinely like grooming going on in those things toward violence. Like it wasn't it found that with both Rupp now and the other one, I don't remember his name.
Oh,
The
Solomon?
one that got Solomon, yeah,
Yeah,
who
Solomon.
got the eCell Discord nuked. Wasn't it found in posts like that both of them were in these like group chats, like actively getting encouraged by other people to commit violence? I'm talking about
See,
09A specifically.
yeah, it was
And
not
like
09A. It was I think it was either 764 or Atomwaffen. I can't remember, but it was one of
yes,
those.
yes, you're right. I had it mixed up. But yeah, all three of those communities, like the whole Adam Waffen 764 09A, like I really think there should be genuine investigations into that. There's no way that those people don't have public like they don't even really try to hide. There's no way that you can't and the more you let them go, the more there's going to be and like so that's kind of what depresses me about like the quote unquote incel core community is because a few years ago I think it used to be a little bit better. It used to be more of like a community like where people shared things in common, but like none of us really wish violence on anybody. But it seems like more and more, like I said, it's either people who are very disconnected from the community and don't care about it because they just know it from like TikTok or whatever, or it's people who have genuinely fallen down an extremist rabbit hole that I don't even think many of the artists that still identify with that label agree with.
Totally get it, man. Like, I have a friend whose name I'm not gonna say because he's in trouble with the authorities of I think it was the Philippines he got in trouble with. And this Filipinian kid, he Filipinian, it's Filipino, it's whatever, bro. But this kid, I know him because he was in the same Instacore server as me, and but he found about Instacore. He found Instacore because he used to follow all these far right TikToks and all these far right like rabbit hole, and he openly praised like white supremacy and Branson Tarrant. He was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be the next Branson Tarrant. So yeah, that was
Oh,
pretty disturbing.
yeah, that's awful. It's just really sad. Like I said, I feel like it used to be better than that, and it's all the more reason I just don't want to associate with that anymore because I think that online, I don't think the artists are like that. Plenty of the artists are very far right, and I don't like their political opinion. I don't like their political beliefs at all. They disgust me on a lot of fronts, but I don't think most of those artists, as awful as their politics are, I don't think most of those people actually want violence or actually hate that many different types of people. And it's kind of depressing to see how real or how actually into it a lot of the especially newer fans are, and it's like they're almost bullying each other into being more and more radical.
Like I might use myself as an example here. I released this song called "Israeli Sleeper Agent" that was about how Mossad basically is a terrorist organization because of the crimes they've been doing against Palestinian kids. But yeah, anyways, like the song was criticizing Mossad and Israel, like the government, not the people. And I was in this LARP server that was a Roblox server that was just dedicated to LARPing, and on the server we LARPed in a game called Desert War. That's a game like based off the Syrian civil war, and on the server they started calling me oh yeah, total Jewish dad, and let's get rid of Jews. And I was like, bro, chill. This is like, this song, it's not meant to be anti-Semitic. It's meant to be anti, like, the government of Israel and all the bad things they're doing, you know.
I think that's an unfortunate thing with a lot of stuff like that with criticism of Israel, because there is a genuine rising tide of anti-Semitism, and I think it's people seeing the atrocities in Gaza and taking the wrong lesson from it. And I think, unfortunately, they're playing right into the radicals that are in power in Israel's hands, because the people who are in power want to conflate all criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism. And so when these people engage in actual anti-Semitism as a result of these atrocities, they're just doing the work for them. And that's like super depressing, because it's
Fat blinker.
no, you're good, man. It's just very frustrating, because I care about all that, and it's especially frustrating because I know Jewish people that don't agree with or support those actions. And so it's like, I know that the average Jewish person is not your enemy. They aren't to blame for this. Like, a solid portion of American Jews are against the genocide in Gaza. And so it's very frustrating to watch people see all these atrocities unfolding and go back to the blueprint of another atrocity in the form of the Holocaust. Like, I've seen so many posts and comments on social media like that are unironically saying we should bring back the Austrian painter or whatever. And it's genuinely very frustrating. It's like, you're so close to understanding. You're so close to understanding how evil and wrong this colonial project and colonial projects in general are. And then you decide to turn it into racial animus and play directly into the hands of the people that are committing these atrocities by allowing them to have something to use as plausible deniability.
Totally get it, man. And I think there's a really fine line between LARPing and deadass being a far-right extremist.
I don't know. I agree somewhat. Like, I would say, like, Zarbomb is a good example of this. Behind the scenes, I don't think he's as awful as he plays up, but I do think, because he doesn't really, like, he plays up the extremism for the jokes, but, like, it's clear to me, just watching how his fan base behaves, that they either don't understand or don't care when or if he's joking. They're very genuine about all of that. And so it's almost more frustrating, because I know that he isn't as awful as he presents, and yet him presenting that way results in him being kind of an idol to people who believe reprehensible things, that and it gives them something to rally around that I don't think they would otherwise have. At a certain point, the LARPing does become real, and so there's part of that. Like, I can appreciate a decent edgy joke, but, like, if you're going to do that, you have to be very clear that you're doing it. It has to be very deliberate, because I think otherwise you invite people who are either too dumb to realize you're joking, or who don't care that you're joking because it looks like it aligns with you, or with them, sorry.
Totally get it, man. Let's get some more light-hearted questions going. So, what's your favorite animal, man?
Seals. I love seals.
Yeah, you post on seals all the time on Instagram.
Yeah,
I was just watching your Instagram.
They're just so goofy. The Baikal seals especially.
Oh yeah, those are pretty interesting too. The only freshwater seal in the world.
Yeah, and they've got those big old eyes. I personally, I love Nico. I get that he looks like he's constantly upset because of the facial thing, but, like, honestly, he's just so cute. Like, he always looks upset, but it's just like, I want to comfort him. He looks like he's so cute. But I love Bicol seals in general. Just like, and it's really cool that they're like the only freshwater seal, and that they live in a giant lake in Russia.
Yeah, I totally get it, man. Like, I'm a fish nerd, so I know everything about fish, and in Lake Baikal, there's fish that their blood has like properties that makes them not able to freeze. It's very interesting.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate. It's one of those things of like, man, wouldn't it be great to have world peace? Because think of all the things we could find out. Because Russian science has been, especially over the last couple decades, very limited because they've been very isolated from the world stage following the whole shock doctrine thing, and then we basically renewed the Cold War with them over like Eastern Europe, and so they've been very isolated. But there's so much like, because it's such a large country and such a large landmass, there's so much there that like was studied during the Soviet Union, sure, but like the international community has never really gotten to like there hasn't been a lot of opportunity to cross-examine and to work together and to all that. And so it's like, think like, if that's what we know already, think of all the things we could learn from all these different unique environments if the entire like international community could study them.
So true, man. Like, honestly, if humans just like learn how to coexist, I think science and like biology, it would all like advance at a huge at a huge pace, you know.
Yeah, it's one of those things of you have to. There's definitely a lot of good reasons to have a realistically nihilistic outlook about a lot of things. But it's one of those things of you have to keep hope, and that's one of those things that always like brings me hope and joy. Is like there's so much about this world and about the universe that we don't know, that we can still learn. That there's still so much to be discovered. There's so much beauty in the world. And I realize that sounds like kind of cringe and hippie or whatever, but like, I don't know. With how awful governments are and how awful like the state of like global politics and like the environment and all of that is, it's very comforting to me to know that there's still so much we can learn, so much we can still do.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's so true. And so, another random question. Like, I noticed that your little character is his name is Jeffrey, right?
Yes.
Like, how did you come up with the name Maniac and this Jeffrey character? Like, how did you come up with this?
I think I've told the Maniac story before. Maniac was like a reaction to I got bullied and called a bunch of like awful names in middle school. Among them, like I would get called like school shooter or like whatever, because I was a very isolated and very easy to anger kid, especially in like eighth grade. I had just moved back. I didn't know anybody. Everybody was kind of in their social cliques already, because they'd been together for 3 years in school. And so me moving in there in eighth grade and already being like as socially awkward as I am, I really struggled to make friends and struggled to, and like I said, I was very easily irritable. And so like people called me a bunch of awful stuff. And after I got suspended from school for a while because someone made up some dumb shit about me, I basically like that name was basically a big fuck you to all those people. It was like, if you think I'm crazy, well then fuck you, I am crazy. As for Jeffrey, that story's a lot more simple. I drew the original drawing for him in an English class on the back of a paper that I tore off, and it was like an animatronic looking thing, and I wrote it. It was inspired by a Jeff Rosenstock song called "To Be a Ghost," and so the original like cutout of my like guy of Jeffrey. Has a quote from that song that's hates not born as a data mine for targeted marketing, hates not a fad that dies with virality. and the name just came from that. Jeffrey is just like it's taken from Jeff Rosenstock because I really like Jeff Rosenstock.
And my name. Like
Shroom
Shroom.
pretty good. I like the little Shroom Jack. I'm glad that you brought it back. I kind of missed that one. That happened for a couple of years, and I don't know. It's a little absurd, but it's like a little mushroom guy. I like him.
Yeah, like the whole story behind this, I think I told it before, but the this time I was with my mom at this random like weird event that was supposed to like purify your soul or some weird shit like that. So I snuck out of the event and I found a guy selling shrooms. So I was like, yeah, sure. And I that was the first time I ever took shrooms, and since then I've been taking shrooms like at least once a month, and the name just stuck. Like my friends started calling me mushroom guy, so I was like, yeah, I'm shroom now. And then shroom as in pilled, as in like black pilled, red pilled, blue pilled, and I was like, yeah, shroom pilled. That sounds fun.
That's nice. Yeah, I can't say any of my IRL nicknames or all that. Like I didn't have that many. And that makes sense. I didn't have a bunch of friends. Most of mine are just like personal ones that I got from like my dad.
Yeah, so like my real name is Miguel. This is a known fact about me, and all my like I have such weird nicknames. Like my mom used to call me saltwater bug for some reason.
Was it like I don't know? People call like small people shrimp sometimes. This is like a variation of that kind of.
Oh yeah, cause I'm also very short. Cause I'm like 5'6", you know.
Yeah.
So let me think of
Excuse
some
me.
more questions, man. The HDHD is making this hard.
No, you're good, man.
So I asked this question to everyone I have on here. Do you like nature? Do you like fishing? Do you like nature, yeah, as a whole?
I wish I could get out more in nature. I feel like I just don't have the time or like no good ways to do it anymore. I went camping a lot when I was a kid, and I always enjoyed that. Now, I will say there are aspects of nature I certainly don't enjoy. Uh, Bugs like are one of the only things that gives me a visceral reaction. I see a bug, I freak the fuck out. I'm not afraid of most creatures. Not afraid of like I've dealt with most creatures, but like oh my gosh, bugs specifically wasps. Oh my god, I hate wasps so much. But like in terms of nature, I do really like nature. I like hiking whenever I get the chance to do that, which isn't very often anymore. But like I said, I really like to get out and go camping and do hiking and all that as a kid.
I get it, I get it. Yeah, hiking and camping, it's also like one of my favorite things to do. But like my favorite thing to do is fishing. I like my dream is to be a pro fisherman, like someone you can go ahead and like pay, and then I'll take you fishing and I'll like you'll catch like a shit ton of fish. Like that's my dream.
That's cool. I mean that sounds like a fun job.
Yeah, sure. I think it's gonna be not like easy. I guess like I don't think it's gonna be that hard.
Like I said, it sounds like fun. If you enjoy being, the way I've always felt about jobs is like there are very few things that are inevitable in life. There's death and taxes, but I also think employment is another one that you can add to that list. And so my philosophy has always been, if you're going to do a job, you shouldn't hate it. If you hate your job, which occupies so much of your life, then you're going to hate your life. So my goal has been for like the past however many years was just to find a job that I don't hate doing. And music is definitely one of those things. I would love to do music as a career. I just I know how unrealistic that can be. And so I'm trying to kind of prepare myself for getting a day job and working a day job and doing music kind of on the side, which I'm more than fine with. I will say whatever day job I'm gonna get would probably be something related to music or the industry. Like I would probably do. I mean, even film, just like audio production, all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to think what else. Sound for any sort of thing. But yeah, I just really like working in like music and art, and so I would like to do that, even if like I can't do music for the like my career.
Like, I just wanted to say, man, like, I really enjoy your music, especially the Mutant song, the I'm an ogre now. That song's fire,
Uh,
man.
I love that song too. It's funny. I wrote that song with Watermark, and so it means a lot to me. I'm glad that it has been as successful as it has been.
Oh, so you were
Um,
friends with Watermark?
yeah, we were pretty close. I knew him. I met him in ICG in like 2020 or 2021. I think it would have been late 2020. But yeah, we knew each other for like 4 years. We were pretty close friends. We worked together on quite a few things, and then like whenever Edgemaster 42 kind of came along and more formally joined the scene, whenever he was invited to some of the like artist servers, we kind of became like three musketeers. Like we were all really good friends, and so I'm really glad I knew him, and I'm really glad for his friendship. I miss him a lot. Um, I'm really thankful for both of them. Him and Edgemaster have both been like really good friends to me.
Like, when and how did you react when you found out that little Watermark passed away?
I didn't believe it was real at first just because I had seen posts like that before, but it was sent to like a personal server, and I talked with them, and I once I figured out it was real, I was depressed and crying most of the rest of the afternoon. And I cried several more times. I'm not ashamed to admit that. I realize a lot of people will be like, "Oh, you're a man, you can't cry." I just think that's cringe. Like everyone gets emotional sometimes. Everyone has someone that matters to them, and like to me, he was probably one of the only like he's one of the few people outside of my family that I felt like actually knew me. And so even if I never got to meet him in person, losing him still hurt, like really hurt me.
Yeah, I totally get it, man. Like, I had a friend who passed away from cancer, and yeah, it hurts, man.
Yeah, and like I was saying, that I feel like there's this whole expectation of how, especially as men, you're supposed to grieve, and for me, that's another like fuck you moment. I just feel like if you're telling me how I should feel about the passing of somebody who mattered to me, like I don't feel like that's anybody's place to tell me how I should feel.
Yeah, I totally get it, man.
We all process those things differently, and the important thing is like getting through it and getting on with your life, and not forgetting the good of what came out of them in their life. That's something I really loved about Watermark was he was always just in this scene has always been sort of depressive, and it can be very crabs in a bucket at a time. And so how like positive, gung ho, and just like energized Watermark was to do something. He always wanted to be doing something, planning something, building something. And so I've tried to make more of that in my life. I've tried to say no less. And I'm very thankful for that sort of lesson.
Yeah, I totally get it, man. Like my dad, he always tells me that life is not a battle against other people, but a battle against oneself. So the key in life to be successful is to beat that negative part of you.
Yeah, your worst enemy is always going to be that voice that says you can't do that. You can't do better. And so, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Before you, and it's funny because Jordan Peterson has said stuff along these lines, but I think he frames it in the wrong way because I think Jordan Peterson like goes with the whole thing of you can't criticize the world and the systems until you fix yourself. But I do think that there's a point there in the more you know about yourself, the better equipped you are to do something about the world. That doesn't mean that you should wait until you're perfect because no one is perfect. So waiting until you're perfect to fix the world means you'll never get anything done, which is, I think, Jordan Peterson's ultimate goal. He just doesn't want the world to change. But, and that's because he's just a doddering old man. But I do think there's a point there of like when you know yourself and when you prepare yourself, I feel like you can do more good for the world. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't do the good you can do now because no one's ever going to be perfect. It just means you can always improve.
Totally get it, man. And I think one of the things that's fucking up society so bad right now is that people just don't understand that, you know?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of that is, again, expectations. We as a society, especially in the West and in America in particular, we're so focused on this imagined productivity. Every waking second needs to be, it's either every waking second needs to be optimized or people are isolated and they feel like every waking moment they need to be distracted, they need to be numbed. Existing alone is so much pain that they don't want to experience it without those coping methods. And so I feel like both sides of that coin are monumentally destructive, and both sides of the coin are also fueled by the whole lack of community. So like one of the only things that makes people feel like they matter is when they're being productive, or when they're not being productive, or when they feel disconnected. They want to numb themselves because they don't feel connected to anything else. They don't have anything else to help them through that.
Yeah. So, you got anything else to say?
Not particularly. I guess I have a new single out on the 27th, February 27th.
It's 27.
I'll have CDs that are available for sale then too. I'll have one in Maniac, Jeffrey for President, and Isolation and Not Safe for Life. It's those 4 albums. I'll have 10 of each. They're all signed and numbered. I had the insert. They're full print front and back jewel cases, so they're like fancy, and I'm really happy with them. Like I said, they'll all be signed and numbered. They'll all have like a printed off lyric sheets. And so I'm really looking forward to those things being available. And then if they sell well, I'll make more. I just didn't know how well they were going to sell, so I didn't want to overcommit.
Are you planning any collabs right now?
Not particularly. I think I mentioned this on my story because somebody asked about collabs. When I collab with people, it's mostly just like I want to work with those people. It has nothing to do with like clout or size or whatever. And I get DMs from people a lot, and I'm very flattered that people want to work with me. But at the same time, it's like if I'm creating something with someone else, I want it to be someone that I want to work with, someone that I feel aligned with, instead of just anybody. And I think that's reflected in my discography. I've only ever featured on 2 other people's work, and that's Watermark and Loser 64. Are the only other like albums I've appeared on.
Get that, man. Like, this one time I tried to get an interview with Fried, and he literally left me hanging. Like he didn't respond to me. He saw the messages, but he didn't respond to them. And
I mean, to be fair, Fried I think has a lot a lot more going on.
Yeah, I think like
Being as big as he is, I don't think I'm sure he gets a cavalcade of DMs, and oh my goodness. So I'm sure it was just like he only accepts certain things, and also he just doesn't do he isn't that great at interviews. If you've seen the couple interviews that there have been with him, I think Fools talked about this, but whenever he went on E-Cell, he was like so quiet speaking into the mic. Like Fools had to boost his audio like all the way up for him to be audible for like half the interview. And that's not a like,
so yeah, man. I totally get it. Like I heard you how Fried he's like very busy and stuff, and but like, do you think about Fried the all those pedo allegations about Fried and about Blay? Do you think they're true?
I with Bleh, I haven't seen any actual like screenshots or anything. With either of them, I haven't. I don't know. I won't make any assertions on it because I feel like hardline claiming one way or the other when I just haven't seen real evidence either way is just kind of hasty. I will say, like, I don't really talk to Fried. Well, I don't really talk to Fried all that much anymore. I used to know him a little bit better because we were in servers together and stuff a few years ago. But like I said, I wouldn't know enough about that situation to really comment on it. If he did do that bad stuff, I hope he gets in. I hope the fullest extent of the law. Same with anybody else. I hope they're prosecuted the fullest extent of the law because I think that sort of thing is vile. But if it's false, then I hope that comes to light as well. Like yeah. I just don't know enough about either of those, and I haven't seen solid evidence either way. I'd prefer not to just make a hasty comment on it.
Yeah, I talked about this with Lane, right?
Yeah. Lane, I've been introduced to Lane.
Yeah, I talked about it with Lane. She said the worst part about Fried, like the thing that's like damning evidence, it's when he was asked in an interview about it, and he didn't respond. Like he stayed quiet.
Yeah, that was the E-Cell interview. I think he just like froze up. It just seemed like he didn't have any clue what to say. Yeah, I would say that does look bad. Even if he's innocent, I'm saying that looks bad.
Looks pretty bad.
But yeah, that and the whole like he'll. I realize he's shit posting, but sometimes he'll get on Twitter and he'll be like, "I did all these bad things and I'm still popular. You can just do things," and it's like I get that he's shit posting, but also you're not exactly helping your case here, man.
Yeah, I get it. So, besides Reba sucks, are you aware of anybody that like hates you or like wants you gone of the scene?
There's not really anybody worth acknowledging. I feel like for so many of these, it's just like bitter ex fans and stuff, and I feel like acknowledging them or acknowledging them by name in like a public format just like lends credibility to them and just lends them attention, which is what they want. They're just lonely people who want attention, and they think pushing my buttons is a good way for them to get attention and or clicks or whatever they want. And so, like I said, I don't really feel like any of those people are worth acknowledging. In terms of artists, I don't really feel like there's that many who hate me. There's definitely a couple. But again, they just aren't people who are worth acknowledging. I feel like acknowledging them is giving them way more attention than they deserve. Especially because and I hate to do this because it's like I hate pulling out numbers or whatever. I think it's cringe. But in terms of numbers, a lot of the people who actively hate me in the scene in terms of artists are like very small figures. And by even like mentioning them, I feel like I'm giving them more of a platform. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like promoting them.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like if bitter ex fans don't like me and they hate watch whatever it is I'm on, and then I go and talk about other people who don't like me, well, then they're just gonna go support whoever it is. You know what I mean? And so it's just again, it's pointless internet beef. A, and then B, it just doesn't seem like it's worth acknowledging. None of these people deserve my time or attention. Which is why, like, I used to really hate using the block button on, like, Twitter or other social media platforms because I've been told all my life, it's like, oh, you're just letting them win. You're letting them whatever. It's like, no, I'm just removing them from my life. I don't have to worry about them anymore. By not doing it, I am actively choosing to give them my time, attention, and to let them ruin my mood, ruin my day. And so why would I allow them to do that when I can just hit the block button and be done with it?
This question that I forgot to tell you later. Do you not play any games? Like video games?
I haven't been able to play that many because I'm at college and I don't really have that much space in my dorm
Oh
room.
yeah, you're
I
in
don't even have,
college, yeah.
I don't even have like a TV in my dorm room. So like I can't really play video games, but I do. The last couple times I've been home, I've been playing through the Lego Traveler's Tales games, like the old ones, because I have a lot of nostalgia for them. I played them when I was a kid, and so I've been playing those. Those have been a lot of fun. In terms of multiplayer games, like on the occasion I'm home, I'll play like Fortnite or Call of Duty or any of those with some friends of mine. And then in terms of like single player games, some of my favorites, these are going to be kind of niche references, and I talked about this on my story the other day when somebody asked what my favorite games were. But the Transformers Cybertron series by High Moon Studios, I get that they're Transformers games, they're kiddie games, but they're shooters, and they're really fun shooters, and I have played through them a zillion times. But yeah, War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, I love both those games. And then in terms of like narrative, like non-kiddie games, I suppose RDR2, the Norse God of War series was really, really good. I played both of those games and enjoyed them. Yeah, there's plenty of games I enjoy. Like I said, I just haven't had a lot of time to play a bunch of new ones recently because I can't have my console at college. I don't have a TV to plug it into.
So, just to end this off, what is your final message to the viewer?
Just the same thing I've been signing off my YouTube videos with recently, which I unapologetically stole from the wonderful YouTube channel Gaming Wins. Stay safe, drive the speed limit, and drink water. And then also to like people who find themselves angry at me all the time, I sincerely wish you better, and I hope that you find something better to do with your life. I feel like wasting your time being mad at me, a guy that you have never met and probably will never meet, is just putting yourself through more misery than you deserve.
So, that was Maniac, guys. That was Maniac right here. So, thank you, Maniac. Thank you so much for the interview.
Oh, happy to, man. Anytime.
And if you want a part 2, just hit me up whenever you want, you know.
Oh, for sure. If anybody has questions they want to ask in the comments or whatever, if you want to have me back on at some point to answer like viewer questions, or if you have other questions for me, let me know. It's all good.
So yeah, remember guys, this is the part of the video where I beg for y'all's subscription. Please subscribe, please. Alright, thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.